Alright, hello sim racers around the world. Good Steel Jockey here. What we are doing is trying out the new day-night transitions. So I've jumped in a hosted session someone's got at the Nürburgring or Nordschleife in the Audi, JP Sim Shed Audi. And I think we've just got at the time where their light is actually starting to change, I think. So we can actually have a look at it. So I'll take it for a drive and we'll see if we can actually pick up some of these colours. We'll do a few laps. It's taken a little bit trying to get the graphics reset. When I first jumped on before, the skybox wasn't working. We had nothing there, so I've had to reset my graphics ini file, delete it and redo it again. And it seems to have fixed it. There's been a few...
Car stopped on the left. Go right.
A few stutters getting in and out of the car. But I think it's slowly getting there. I think there might be a few little patches that'll come through as people find some issues with it.
Car right. Clear on the right.
Yeah, when I first jumped in this session, only probably about 5 minutes ago, the sky was all black. So I've actually picked it just at the right time. We've actually got the sky actually starting to change colour. So let's see how the feed goes anyway. And hopefully it'll pick it all up. This is going to be really good come the endurance races. Bringing in some challenge, obviously, driving at night on a track like the Nürburgring or at Le Mans. But it'll certainly bring in some interest, and people have been talking about for years, trying to get some accuracy in trying to drive in these sort of conditions like the real race. Because having done both the Nürburgring and the Nordschleife, the Le Mans, sorry, and been stuck at a fixed time, this will certainly bring in some challenges learning to drive at night. There's some changes in the force feedback settings too, so I'm going to have to have a bit more play with it to try and work out how they all work. They've got some new settings. One's actually to do with, it's actually mainly set up for direct drive wheels. So there's like a Newton meter adjustment for your wheel. Now, from what I've reading on the forum, you actually set that to what the maximum your wheels normally output. So OSW or your direct drive wheels can have a much higher setting, whereas wheels like I'm driving with the Thrustmaster TSXW wheel, and I think I'll have to do some research on it, but I think it only is supposed to have a maximum output of around about 6 Newton meters. So I've got it running about 6.5, I think, at the moment. And then you adjust your force feedback setting from there. So I think on the Porsche 911 RSR I was running about 15 and it seemed okay. This one I felt I've had to actually update. I'm running up around about 17 or 18, I think. So I might have to start doing some custom force feedback settings for different cars, I think. I was feeling a little bit soft. But yeah, running about 17 or 18, I think, for this Audi. So not really pushing at the moment. Just getting used to, well, I haven't driven here for a little while, but just trying to used to the difference of the feel through the wheel and also the difference lighting.
Right side. Clear on the right.
So I've got the graphics all set up quite high at the moment. And the computer seems to be handling it, which is good.
Right side. Clear on the right. Car right. Clear on the right.
Sorry.
So yeah, you can see the change there. The sky's a lot darker when I first jumped in. It's actually starting to get a little bit lighter, a little bit bluer there through the windscreen. And hopefully the trackside view is showing that there too. Now this session that I've jumped in, the transition's been set to 8 times, so it's maximum speed. So it's going to happen quite quick.
Slow car ahead. You got a slow car on the right. Car stopped ahead. Go left.
Which, while not realistic and definitely not, as you probably see in some of the official races, you get to see the sped up transition, how it should look. Give you an idea, but anyways, rather than trying to take hours for the light to change.
Car stopped on the left.
Yeah, so the sky's starting to get a bit lighter there, as you can see. Have a bit of a look around. Get a pink tinge there around the horizon. You can even see it there in the mirrors. So I've got pretty much my graphics all wound right up. Frame rate's just dropped back here. Still a little bit jittery. 50, 60. And that'll be normal pit stuff. Oh, a bit late there. Got it though. Up in the 80s again. 90s. Now I'm running a 1080 Ti or a extreme graphics card and an i9 9900K CPU. So it's a very high-end CPU and graphics card. I probably could use one of the new the new 2080s, I suppose. Maybe next year. But it seems to be holding together at the moment. And I'm sure that there'll be some updates that'll help to smooth out a few more things in the graphics. But we're running 70s, getting up in the 80s at spot. I could probably turn a few things down, but it's worthwhile pushing it to the max. Sky's starting to get a bit lighter there. Oh, that's not going to be good. Don't touch anything. Hope I got away with that. Looks like the sun's about to come out there on the right. Now, one thing that should have an impact is actually this changing light conditions too will actually change grip levels. I would think with the changing track temperature.
Right side. Clear on the right.
Thank you.
Oh, right. We might just jump back in, I think, to the pits. I've probably done a bit more damage there than I want to. I'm not sure if you can see this on the screen, but this is what I tend to get. There's this freeze as I'm jumping in and out of the car at the moment. So with any luck, that'll actually change or be updated somewhere. All right, you can see a bit more daylight coming through. All right, let's see if we can go and do a couple of laps properly without actually killing myself. Mainly doing this just to have a look at the change of light there. Looking off the reflection coming off the just looking in the mirror there, off the buildings at the pit lane. Looks like this CPU's working really hard there to try and pre-render the frames for the graphics card. So I might have to turn a few things down in a few spots. Mind you, I think I'm also running in the graphics ini file for the Rift. I'm running the dots per inch. There we go. The sun's coming up. They're starting to reflect on the road. The dots per inch, I think I'm running at 100. As I'm using the Oculus tray tool to bump it up. And I think it's running at about 1.5. So I might be able to cut that back a bit, I think. Might run it back to about 1.4, maybe 1.3. That might actually help that load there a little bit. Frames running between about 50 to 60 at the moment, this part of the track. I don't know if it's a light thing or just, I know some parts of the track that really struggles a bit. The lighting effects there shining off the crowds there off the road. I think I have to keep an eye on my relative there a little bit too. It's a bit low for me at the moment. Keep an eye on cars coming. This is Audi, hasn't got the best mirror. See the cars coming, and this is a very tight track, so you really need to be aware of who's coming and where. The light shining off the road there. You can just see the sun there in the windscreen behind those trees there at the moment. Getting a little bit distracted with the lighting effects at the moment. But enjoy them while I can now, because when we actually get serious about doing some of these races, it'll have to be ignoring the lighting effects and concentrating on where you're going on the road. Yeah, you can see the sun directly through the windscreen there, shining straight off the road, above the horizon. It's going to certainly make it challenging looking at braking points and stuff, whereas when you've got a static lighting and the shadows and things when actually moving across the sky, you can actually pick a shadow on the ground and every lap use that shadow as a braking mark or a paint. And now with the light changing, you can't do that. You have to find other things as brake markers as the light changes. Trying to find marks on the side of fences. Oh, we're starting to get an early morning here by the looks of it. Coming in the pit area here, the frame rate's dropping right down. Looks like the CPU can't quite pump out enough frames there for the GPU, which is handling it okay. Yeah, I might cut that Oculus tray tool, I think, back to, we'll try 1.4. I think it's at 1.5. And see if that might make that little bit of difference so I can keep everything else pumped up fairly high. Even though the sun's up at the moment, it looks like we've got a bit of cloud cover there. Yeah, sun's behind the clouds there. So that's the other thing too, is the clouds are supposed to move across the sky. So that'll actually affect how the shadows change on the track. So even if it wasn't a change of day, and the light stayed the same, the shadows would actually move lap to lap as the clouds actually move across the sky. So that'll actually affect the track temperature as well, just how much sun's on it at different times. All right, just around the old pit area. We'll change it on and off the track there, from the GP to the Nordschleife part of the track. And graphics dropping down, or the frame rate's dropping down quite a bit there. All right, we're starting to get into probably about mid-morning here by the looks of it.
You've got about 5 laps of fuel left.
Yeah, just looking at the meter there, you can see the R is the renderer, which is coming from the CPU, and the G is the graphics card. So both of them working very hard, just coming through this pit lane here at the moment. To the pit area. Gets a bit better as I start to leave it. Out here on the GP circuit at the moment, still working a bit hard. Up to 90, so it's coping through there, is not too bad. Bit of a stutter around the bottom loop there. Just different areas around the GP circuit, it's struggling quite a bit. Quite shady through there at the moment. back out into the sunshine. Certainly provides a little bit more interest. Instead of everything being the same, there's changing light shining on the road, different angles, shadows, and obviously now clouds have got changing too. So every lap's going to be different. The changing track state. Not only dealing with different different lighting conditions, but also the different temperature conditions. A lot more fluid, a lot more dynamic. Oh, that's interesting. Big flash there. I don't know what that was. Oh, that's probably the end of that one. That's what happens when you try and push. All right, well, we're starting to get into definitely daylight here. Well and truly, like middle of the day. Might finish this lap off there. We'll just have a look at it. And there's an introduction there in that daylight transition from early in the morning before the sun's up and into daytime. Last time round, this is quite cloudy through here, and now the sun's out on the. So it's a change of light on the road. All right, maybe tomorrow I'll have another look at see if I can find a session going from daylight into night time. We'll see the different changes there. Okay, peoples, there's an introduction to the day-night transition here at the Nürburgring, or the Nordschleife, or Gemmerstreck, whatever they call it. Those in Germany will probably kick me for saying get it right, but I've always known it just as the Nordschleife. So it's the full track there, and driving in the JP Simshed Audi, just having a look at the day-night transition from morning into daytime. So it's going to bring a lot of interest there with not just the change of light, but also the clouds will actually be moving across the sky too, and changing the effect of the lighting on the road, which also have an impact on the temperature too, and all the changing circumstances. So looking forward to some of these big endurance races where these things are really going to have an impact on how the race is run. So this will be Steel Jockey signing out. Looking forward to seeing you on track.